What's up, people of the internet? Welcome to Hear Me Out. My name is Austin, but you can call me Chino.
And my name is Kongwa, and we are so excited to have y'all on today's show.
This is the show where every week we're going to discuss pressing topics from a Christian viewpoint.
Each week we will have a topic question that we will be covering. We will invite people every week to help us with the discussion or even debate the topic.
Every week you guys are going to hear from your fellow college students, staff, and even alumni. Episodes will consist of an open floor discussion and positive words of wisdom, so you guys don't want to miss any of the episodes. Today, we're asking the question, are the benefits of college worth the cost?
Do you think that you're overpaying for college? Does your calling have to align with your major? Are you getting prepared for the career that you have in mind after you graduate? I went out onto our campus and found students who were willing to speak on this. So sit back, relax, and hear me out. Welcome back to HMO, everybody. We're here in the Schaefer Center interviewing a couple of people about their opinions on college. So let's go ahead and find a couple of your peers and let's find out what they have to say. All right. Hi. Do you mind telling everybody your name?
My name is Trenton Smith. I'm a business administration major. Yeah.
How long have you been in college, just overall in general?
Okay. I think I've been here for a full 4 years. Yes.
All right. So do you think that what you've learned so far is actually preparing you for what you want to do in the future?
Yes, I do. However, I think there's another aspect as far as learning when you become an adult, that when it comes to responsibility and understanding who you are in Christ. So, yeah.
All right. So, what are the pros and cons of being in college?
I'll start off with the cons, and on a light note, the cons, I get homesick. I really do miss my family, and I'm always broke. So FOMO is a real thing, and I'm always broke because of it. Pros, I have so much fun here, and I'm surrounded by people that really love me, and I got to meet people that really, really love me, and I have the time of my life in college, so.
What are some, in your honest opinion, what are some pros and cons of being in college?
Pros is definitely, it's an environment that you get to learn in, you know. I think it challenges your perspective because people just come from all different backgrounds and you just never know, like, you could just be set in your own ways, and so coming to college broadens, like, kind of perspective, and you just learn from other people. So that's a pro. A con, obviously the financial aspect of college, it's really difficult to sometimes figure out how you're going to do it, and it's really stressful. Right. So the emotional, the physical work that you have to do in order to, like, finance going to college is definitely a con.
Honestly, I 100% agree. And I saw you nodding your head whenever she tried to discuss the financial aspects of it. So do you think that you're overpaying for college?
Yes, even though it is quality education and I do appreciate the environment at SAGU, I do think it's a little overpriced and that it could be more suitable for students.
Yeah.
I'm always super busy. Like, I never learned time management, so, like, that's a con. I'm always flaking on everyone. Pros, great community, great people here. Great people to study with. People are always, like, down to do homework and down to, like, buckle down, so I'm always grounded.
Right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you back in the studio.
What are you looking for in a college? Many students discover that when they attend a large university, they become just another face in the crowd. Well, not at SAGU. Here, there is one professor to every 19 students. Our average annual cost is half of the national average for other private schools, and we award $28 million annually in financial aid, with 92% of students receiving some form of financial assistance. So, if you haven't given SAGU a close look, perhaps it's time.
Welcome back to Hear Me Out. This is the part of the show where we have open floor discussion, debates, and we just hear about different topics from a Christian standpoint. Today, we have two awesome speakers with us, and they're going to be answering the question, is college worth the cost? We have SAGU alumni, Brock Boggs, and one of your fellow peers, Axandra Ruiz, or Axa, she prefers Axa.
Yes.
So, first question, Brock, I'm going to ask Axa, ladies first.
Of course.
Axa, do you think that people need a degree in order to succeed?
Oh, that's kind of like a difficult one, because I think at the end of the day, it just depends on what the person defines succeeding. You know, what is that to them?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's different motions in like what major or degree you want to take in, especially because there's some things that you want to succeed in that you don't need a degree for, you know?
Yeah. Brock, your thoughts?
And I mean, some fields it's basically a requirement on, you know, teaching and things like that, but especially in the context of ministry specifically, like it all depends on what you know your end goal needs to be.
Yeah.
As far as worth and things like that, I mean, if you have your things you need to get out of it and you make sure you are getting those things, then yeah, absolutely. But I mean, if you're going in blind and just hoping for the best, then you really may not be getting the most out of your money or your time, either one, without some sort of plan.
Yeah. You talked about, you know, kind of the different tracks and people that things that people go on. And so you mentioned ministry, and often in ministry, people are called to ministry. So one thing with that is, do you think one's calling should be aligned with their major?
From my own personal perspective, like I knew God had called me into children's ministry. I knew that's where I was going to end up being, and I got an opportunity soon after high school to get involved in children's ministry. So my other passion was in IT. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I've got the ministry thing. I'm learning this. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get this degree in computer science and engineering so I can get to do the best of both worlds. But I knew the calling God had on me, but I never consulted him with the way I was going about it. And I'll never forget, at the end of my first semester at UTA, God stopped me in the parking lot. And it was in the most loving way, but it was, is this what I've called you to do? And in that moment, I shifted gears. I knew I needed to get to you know, a ministry level degree, go somewhere, get what I needed to get. But again, if I would have talked with God about it instead of, you know, just bulldozing ahead thinking I knew best. So I definitely, it all depends on what you know God's called you to and the path that he's wanting to put you on in order to get you there. Yeah. So.
Degree.
Yeah, kind of like him. Like, I thought that I wanted to go to school for photography and all of that, and I did that, but I just didn't find myself, like, at the end of the day, this is my passion, this is what I wanted to do. And God kind of had to redirect me and point me in the direction that I needed to go on, which was ministry. And I followed through with that, and like every step of the way, I've just seen his hand move in everything.
Yeah. Speaking with ministry, and finances, often, like, you know, people say, like, oh, you don't make much in ministry. Yeah. But I mean, we're in college right now. So do you think that a job in ministry could pay enough to pay off like your student loans?
Yeah. It kind of like depends. I really feel like you need to be smart before you get into school. For me, I've had the privilege of like God providing left and right, but because I busted my butt off, like I signed up for scholarships, I signed up for different ways for school to be paid off. I've worked extra shifts, extra hours. That way I wouldn't come to the terms of picking out loans and then paying them off later on. Like it's just a lesser cost if I choose to be smart about it.
Yeah. So next question, it's about employment rates. The National Center for Education Statistics says that the employment rate for 25 to 34-year-olds with a bachelor's degree was 87%. What do you guys think about that statistic?
I'd be curious, like, okay, is the job they got the degree that they got in? You know what I mean? Like, did that degree and the things they learn, are they actually, getting to put it to use? And, how much of that is ministry versus just like public sector?
Yeah, or are they enjoying what they're doing? Because sometimes people go to college just to get a degree and get a job, but they're at the end of the day, they're not happy with what they're doing. They're just doing what they've been told to do all their lives.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they put 25 though, because I was in that group that screwed around for a little while, so I didn't finish in your standard 4 years, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. I definitely understand. So continuing on, the next question is, would you give up your dream job that, you'll make less money? Would you give that up or go to a trade school where you'd be making a lot more money?
I would honestly go with my dream and make less money. I know that seems wild. Yeah. And I had such a tough decision because I originally grew up in Mexico, and my parents wanted to come to the United States to make a better future for my brother and I. So making that decision was one of the hardest things that I had to do. But at the end of the day, I said to myself, I want to be happy in where God has called me to be, and I want to be passionate about what I do. I don't want to be stuck in a cycle doing something I don't like to do, and not enjoy it. And just,
No matter what job you have, and I've got a little bit of benefit of hindsight being 20/20, like there's gonna be a point in any job, your dream job or the job you're working so that you can get to what you're supposed to do, where it's gonna be like, okay, man, is this really worth it? You know what I mean? Because all jobs are hard at some level. And when you're sitting there and you're either on the path that God has for you to get where He wants you to be, or not in the sense of made it, but you're getting to do the passion that He placed in you, you're still able to say, you know what, yes, it is worth it. And you can power through those things if you're just there for the money, money doesn't it meets the lowest tier of needs in our life. And then everything else above it all has to do with self-fulfillment, self-actualization, doing the things we know we should be doing. And money just can't cover that.
Yeah. Do you think the benefits of college are worth the cost?
I guess it all depends on what that benefit looks like for you. Because college doesn't just cost money. It costs something even more valuable. It costs time. That's the one thing we can't get any more of. Unless you honored your mother and your father, and then your life got extended some, but we don't know that number. It might cover like a semester or two of screwing around, but then you really got to get serious. But it also costs your time, and knowing, okay, these are, I know what God's called me to do. I know the path that He's got me on right now. What are the things that I need from this? And making sure you're getting those things from it. Like not going off blind, not just saying, well, God called me here, so let's just enjoy the ride. You can have a great time, but also stay focused on what God has for you. And then, yes, any type of money or time you put into it is, in my opinion, 100% worth it.
Yeah. Akshay, do you have any?
Yeah, I think it's that, college doesn't just offer education, it offers community and be able to just build experience of your own as well.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming and joining us and being here and being open and honest. We really love that.
Absolutely.
So we are going to be taking a quick break. But when we come back, we'll be hearing from some of your peers on a slightly heated topic.
And now it's time for Dumb Debates with Tim, the part of the show where Tim has a dumb debate. So without further ado, Dumb Debates with Tim.
Hey guys, welcome back to Dumb Debates with Tim. This week, we're going to be discussing the things that really matter. We're going to take a break from the serious topics, just talk about some good things. Like this week, is a hot dog a sandwich? So today we have here Mr. Michael Sutherland.
Howdy.
And we have Mr. Malachi Smith. And they will be debating, is a hot dog a sandwich or not? Michael will be taking the floor as,
Undoubtedly, yes. A hot dog is in fact a sandwich.
and Mr. Smith will be taking the floor as.
A hot dog is definitely not a sandwich.
So let's go ahead and hear from Mr. Sutherland on his first argument.
First point, well, Malachi, I believe that we both understand in essence exactly what a sandwich is, right? We got to get together and talk about, well, if a sandwich is a sandwich, what constitutes a sandwich, right? Can we both agree that bread is an important part of a sandwich, right?
Correct, yeah.
Contents
Yeah.
is a very important part of a sandwich, whether you're having a vegetarian sandwich or you're having maybe some meat in there.
Right.
So why not? Why can't a hot dog basically be a sandwich when it constitutes both variables that make a sandwich, which are both bread and content in the middle?
Okay, that's a very valid point. Now, Mr. Smith, what do you have to say about that?
All right, answer me this then. Is a corn dog a sandwich? You have bread and you have content inside, so why would it not be a sandwich?
Valid point.
Am I allowed to rebuttal?
Yes.
Well, this would also constitute, well, is bread and breading the exact same thing? Because on a corn dog, is it really bread or is it breading?
Well, it's breading, but that depends on how much breading you put on that corn dog. If you have an inch of breading, what's stopping it from being a sandwich at that point?
Well, I guess it would have to depend on how much breading you put on top of a corn dog to make it a sandwich. But I want to ask you, is a hot dog technically a sandwich? Can it technically be a sandwich?
It could technically be a sandwich.
So is that a yes?
No.
Is that a yes?
Because
you just said it could be. You just said it could be a sandwich. You just say yes.
Listen.
Now stop the cap! You're capping again. You just said yes, it technically could be a sandwich.
I smell some cap.
He's capping hard. You're capping hard. You're capping.
There's no cap here. Is it technically
a sandwich?
A sandwich?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Hear me out.
Yes.
Whoa.
So it is.
Hear me out.
It is a sandwich. It is a sandwich.
Did you just?
He just admitted. He just admitted it. He just admitted it.
Hear me out. If I invite you over for sandwiches and I serve you a hot dog, are you going to be very confused? Just the same as if I invite you over for a sandwich and I give you a burger, even though it's literally a sandwich, we don't refer to them as a sandwich.
You know what? He's right. Let's just agree to disagree because I'm a little more confused than I was before we started this conversation. Why don't you guys in the comments go down below and tell us what you think. Is a hot dog a sandwich or not? Let's go ahead and take it back to Chino and Kongwa.
Man, those guys really got into it. But I have to say, I'm on Michael's team. A hot dog is definitely a sandwich.
Yes, they honestly made me want to reevaluate my decision of hot dogs and sandwiches. Well, anyways, that was fun. Now we are going to have some wise words from Professor and Senior Director of Financial Aid, Jeff Francis. He watched the discussion floor and is going to wrap up the show with some encouraging words and some biblical insight. So let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, I'm Jeff Francis, the Senior Director of Financial Aid here at SAGU, and I've been asked to try to help answer a question, and here it is. Is the benefits of college worth the cost? And the answer is, it depends. Like everything else in life, when we face questions like this, we would like there to be a clear yes or no, a black or white answer, but sometimes things are in the gray, and it's hard to figure out. And so let me ask you a few questions so we can try to answer this question together. So is college worth the cost? Well, here's the first question I have for you. Are you doing everything you can to study and to learn? Because obviously if you're here and you're not doing your best, or if a student is not going to class or not reading those textbooks and doing those things, then you can be paying a lot of money and not getting the benefit of it. And so if you're learning, if you're working hard, then you're going to be prepared. Good things are going to happen. And so then I would say, yes, it is worth the cost. Here's the second question. Are you doing your best to connect with other people? Are you making friends? If it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know anybody I graduated high school with. Most of the time, you don't keep up with those friends from when you were little, but you do keep up with your college friends. I've got hundreds of people that I'm connected with on Facebook, that I interact with on a regular basis. And Facebook is just the example I'm using, but you're going to connect with people in college that are become lifelong resources and friends for the rest of your life. So are you doing that? Or are you kind of a loner? Are you going your own way? if you're connecting with people, then yes, I think college can be worth the cost. The third thing is, are you doing your best to make wise financial choices? If you're taking out student loans, for example, that's okay, but are you taking more than you need? Limit those things. Make wise choices. Try to work and save money. Do those kind of things. And if you're doing the best that you can to make wise financial decisions, then yes, college can be worth the cost. And then here's the last thing. Are you simply just trying to do your best to do what you believe God has called you to do? If you're just trying to follow God, if you just want to be what He wants you to be and do what He wants you to do, then He's going to guide you. He's going to help you. He's going to be there for you. He's going to make all this work and all this effort and all this money pay dividends in the future for you. So if you're just trying to follow God, then keep doing that, because He's looking out for you and He's going to help you. So, is college worth the cost? It really does depend. But if you're putting forth the effort, if you're trying to make wise choices, if you're connecting with friends and building relationships, and if you're just trying to follow God and do what He's called you to do, then I believe in the end that yes, college is worth the cost.
Well, that's all we have for you guys this week. Thank you so much for tuning into our first episode of Hear Me Out. We want to hear you guys out, so comment below on this topic. Are the benefits of college worth the cost?
Yes, and don't forget to share with a friend. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.